Ladies and gentlemen, today's news roundup video. First, we have some details from Ben Affleck about his Batman scenes in the Flash movie, of which are being reported as cut, but that doesn't actually seem to be the case, so we're going to get into that. We have some more updates in the Jonathan Majors case, with his lawyer releasing texts from the woman that he's accused of assaulting, with people feeling as though it might not have necessarily made the situation look any better. And we also have some James Gunn news, once again talking about Superman Legacy, and once again debunking Grace Randolph with her persistent claims about the movie. We have more updates on the Blue Beetle trailer. You guys may have remembered me talking about that in the last news roundup video, and it's actually coming way sooner than you think, apparently. And a tease of DCU characters that are going to be involved in James Gunn's DC universe. So if you enjoy these news roundups here, guys, I would really appreciate a like. It helps me out a ton. You don't have to do it, but if you do actually enjoy the content here, take 2 seconds to do that. And if you're brand new and you find yourself coming back here for news roundups, reviews, breakdowns, you name it, hit the subscribe button. Why not? Try to hit 200k eventually, but you can help me get there. So let's start with the Ben Affleck story. This came out like a couple of days ago, but there's a little update with regards to, is this the scene that was cut from the movie? Now, if you're not up to date there, we heard that Superman, Henry Cavill's Superman, and Wonder Woman was cut from the Flash movie. And I believe, if I remember correctly, the Hollywood Reporter said that, and this is all amongst the time, if you guys remember, of when James Gunn and Peter Safran came in, and it's just like, oh, Wonder Woman this, oh, Henry Cavill that, and Patty Jenkins this, oh, Dwayne Johnson that. You get the idea, and those details were included amongst that. So we're about to get into the update with that, but the reason why this has come up again, but also I do want to talk about the Batman details in of itself, because Deadline released an article saying Ben Affleck divulges details on Wonder Woman cameo cut from The Flash. So they go on to say that Ben Affleck has unveiled new details about a Wonder Woman cameo shot for Warner Brothers and DC's long-anticipated superhero pick, The Flash, which reportedly landed on the cutting room floor a number of months ago. Now, Deadline are basically reiterating that it was cut, but they're saying reportedly cut. So they're citing a previous report, which is what I said earlier, to do with, again, I hope I'm not wrong about this, I'm pretty sure it was the Hollywood Reporter who first said that. So Deadline here are kind of doing a story on what Ben Affleck said recently about his details on, his Batman role in the movie, but they're attributing it to being cut from the movie because of that previous report. But Ben Affleck himself never said that. Now, as for what Ben Affleck said about his scenes in the Flash movie with other characters, before we get into the update of how it isn't actually cut, he said, I don't want to give a spoiler, but it was a scene where I get caught. I get saved by Wonder Woman during a conflagration with some bad guys, and she saves me by, I'm sure the spoiler, DC assassins are going to get me, but she saves me with the lasso of truth. And so what happens is that Batman divulges some of his real feelings about his life and his work. I was like, wait a minute, I got it. And what he means by the latter there is in that podcast clip where this quote is taken from, he feels like this is finally the time he actually really slipped the shoes of the Batman role on, and they fit better than they ever have done before. So his scenes in this movie, he does regard as the best Batfleck content he's done, or just in terms of at least portraying the character. Now, that's cool, and I don't really have too much to say about the details of this. I'm not really going to go into a breakdown of how he got saved by Wonder Woman, other than saying the context behind this is that in the first act of the Flash movie, and I'm not going to give major spoilers away, this is kind of public news of what we knew about for a while. There's basically that kind of Justice League-esque team up that happens. And we even get little teasers of that, for example, with Batfleck on his Bat Cycle. Those are a part of the Justice League team up with a few Justice League characters, like obviously Ezra Miller's Flash, Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman, Ben Affleck, of course. I'm actually not sure from the top of my head if that was originally meant to have Aquaman, Superman, and whoever else. Maybe Aquaman's in it. But either way, the point is the movie, or at least near the beginning of the movie, is going to kind of kick off with a everyday in the life of, because it's set after Justice Justice League. So it'll be a cool little scene there. The thing that is getting people confused here is that, again, this was reported a while ago that it was cut. Deadline now come out with a recent article covering Ben Affleck's comments on these scenes, but also saying, oh yeah, but this was cut. But no, this is the thing. Now, the Flash Film News Twitter account has said as follows. Sources close to the production of the Flash movie refute Deadline's report. Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman cameo that Ben Affleck revealed on the Smartless podcast never landed on the cutting room floor. Now, I know what people are going to say. Oh, Boba, you're believing like a Flash Film News Twitter account over a major Hollywood outlet. Deadline, yes, and it's not, again, I know Deadline reported that it was cut and put that in the headline, but they're technically saying or citing that from a previous report, but they're still like going with that news. But just take it from me, if you trust anything that I say, the Flash Film News has some damn good sources. They have it on some damn good authority that this never landed on the cutting room floor. And basically, I think the way you need to look at this is, it's not technically Deadline lying about it because of what I said about citing the previous report. They just seem to be applying that previous report of cutscenes to what Ben Affleck is talking about, which is incorrect. Maybe it is the case. This is what I do want to suggest, though, that maybe an extra Wonder Woman scene in the movie, along with that Henry Cavill one that was reportedly cut at a later part of the movie, is what the Hollywood Reporter were on about a while ago, but just for some reason it's been applied to what Ben Affleck has said about this original kind of Justice League team-up fighting crime scene towards the beginning of the Flash movie. It's still being applied to this, and that isn't the case. But this one is in the movie, and it's going to be just, again, a fun day in the life of action scene, maybe a bit of banter between Ben Affleck's Batman, Wonder Woman. Ben Affleck's Batman gets saved, and I'm looking forward to seeing what Ben Affleck meant by divulging some of his real feelings about his life and his work, and that sounds awesome. Now, the next story we have to talk about is, it's a very serious one. I haven't made a video about it already because I spoke about it in a live stream. Do attend my live streams. They're usually every single Sunday. They've been popping off like crazy, but I wanted to talk about this in this video because since the original accusations, allegations, whatever, we've had an update, and you may have heard about this already, and Variety have even put a headline out about it now yesterday from when making this video. Jonathan Majors' lawyer releases text messages he claims show woman taking blame for fight. So what I want to do is kind of, read out the first couple of paragraphs and then just kind of break down what the fallout of this already is, because it doesn't seem like it's made it much better, to be honest. So anyway, an attorney for Jonathan Majors released text messages on Thursday that he claims came from the woman whom he is accused of assaulting, in which she appears to take the blame for the fight. According to the messages, which have not been independently verified, that's important to know, the woman wrote Majors afterwards that, "I told them it was my fault for trying to grab your phone." She also said that she was angry that Majors had been arrested and that she had made clear that the charges did not have her blessing. I reiterated how this was not an attack, the woman allegedly wrote. The person who sent the text also indicates she had injuries and that we had a fight. A representative for the Manhattan DA said, "We have an active and ongoing investigation, but cannot comment beyond that." Majors, if you don't know already, was arrested over the weekend in Manhattan and charged with assault and harassment following a domestic dispute with a 30-year-old woman, according to authorities. After New York police responded on Saturday to a 911 call at an apartment in Chelsea, Majors was taken into custody without incident. The unnamed victim was later taken to the hospital with minor injuries to her head and neck, according to the authorities. Mr. Majors completely denies assaulting the woman, his criminal defense lawyer Priya Chowdhury said in Thursday's statement. She also alleges that it was Majors who called 911. Now, the thing about this is that apparently and allegedly these text messages were released by the lawyer, and I suppose maybe this could be done to kind of, while the investigation is ongoing, and of course the internet will have a ton to say about this, it could be an effort to somewhat show the public, like, look, this is what she's saying, and hopefully get them to see how this is what they're claiming and how Jonathan Majors didn't do what he's accused of doing. But from what I'm seeing with the response to this, like absolutely everywhere, is that why would you release these text messages? People often citing the very line saying, I told them it was my fault for trying to grab your phone, with people then saying, well, inevitably she ended up with bruises and whatnot in hospital, and, you know, dialing it back to what it was apparently said from her in these text messages to him, saying, you know, I told them it was my fault for, you know, trying to grab your phone, and people were like, that doesn't, you know, regardless of if you try to grab his phone, again, all the tweets and responses on the internet from people looking at this, they're saying, well, that doesn't excuse any aftermath of what happened that landed you up in hospital. So, like, releasing the very messages of her saying, I told them it was my fault for trying to grab your phone, it's just, optics-wise, this was apparently done to, you know, control it and make it kind of look better, but when people are kind of looking at this, it's just, they're like, it's kind of perhaps done the opposite. And as I look at my screen right now, it's very easy to find these tweets or responses because most people are saying the same thing. Why would the lawyer release this? Because sure, like, you're, you know, offering, or, you know, looking at these texts, offering your own perspective on it, but it seems that universally everyone is somewhat sharing the same opinion. It just doesn't, she's profusely apologizing, and, you know, as Deadlines say, in 3 sets of messages provided by Chowdhury and redacted to protect the woman's privacy, the woman allegedly wrote, please let me know you're okay when you get this. They assured me that you won't be charged. They said that they had to arrest you as protocol when they saw the injuries on me and they knew we had a fight. So it's just, the more you dissect this, like, we had a fight. I told them it was my fault when I tried to grab your phone. It's just like, no matter what the outcome is of this, the lawyer releasing this message has just added more fuel to the fire for the public reading between the lines of how, you know, the woman still ended up in hospital. She acknowledges they had a fight. She's putting the blame on herself for trying to grab his phone. And, you know, no matter what, it is innocent until proven guilty, but it's just, you know, it's just, you question the lawyer of, like, the attempt to make things look, you know, in their favor. And apparently there is evidence they have. If I remember from the top of my head, there is video evidence that they're submitting or something that, you know, is set to clear his name and whatnot. But for now, this was something they could apparently leak out to the public and make it look better. But bottom line, most people are having the opposite reception to these screenshots. So I would love to know your thoughts. Have you read the text messages in full? You can look at them in the article. They're everywhere online. Do you think it was a wise decision to do so? Or do you think that after reading all the messages yourself, that the hole has potentially been dug deeper? It's just a very serious matter, so I would love to know any and all thoughts on this. But up next, steering the news back to DC, where we have some more stuff with Grace Randolph. And again, say what you will about her, you know, she's got some things right in the past, but she's very persistent even when getting shot down. From what I've observed in history from directors in the past, it's just like, nope, this is the case. And then they keep, you know, it's like whack-a-mole. They keep shutting it down, and it's that kind of story. So somebody texts James Gunn on Twitter a quote tweet of Grace Randolph's tweet saying, I hear they are very close to a Superman casting. Might not be announced for a while, but it could leak. Very, very close. Role might even be cast or in final talks. Hashtag DC. So James Gunn replied to that saying, not true. Haven't had a single talk with a single actor about the role. We're just making private lists, prepping material for auditions. So that's pretty cool in of itself. So, you know, again, he shot her down. Like, that's not true. But it's kind of cool to know that they're prepping material for auditions, and we're going to have stars or maybe lesser known people go in for their chance to actually be the face of Superman for the next 10 plus years in the DC cinematic universe. So that's when we had Grace Randolph respond to James Gunn, but not directly a quote tweet. It was a screenshot. So she screenshotted his tweet and said, interesting. Since it's not true, I guess I can say I heard his top choice is hashtag Logan Lerman. We'll see what happens. And then James Gunn said, for the record, I don't know who that is. So, you know, another whack-a-mole. And she also put a gif, I can do this all day. So, you know, again, that's what I mean by the perseverance of Grace Randolph, even when she's being shot down by the bloody person who's writing and directing the movie. And James Gunn, after that, wanted to clear up any kind of like, people were taking him saying, I don't know who that is, as like a negative thing towards Logan Lerman. So he said, guys, this isn't a dig at the actor. I don't know a lot of actors' names. Now that you tell me who he is, I recognize him from stuff and that he's talented. But I've never met him and he's never been a part of a conversation about playing Superman. So once again, another freaking mole has been whacked. So yeah, like Grace, whatever she's come out with here, whatever she's hearing from her sources is not true. Yeah, just wanted to update you guys on that. We've got some kind of update there on Superman Legacy from James Gunn in terms of prepping private lists and, audition material, and debunking whatever you may have heard about other bloody actors who could have secured the role, or actually, apparently, according to Grace, already been cast even. So yeah, make of that what you will. Would love to know your thoughts on, once again, another episode of Grace Randolph Debunking. Now, in some other minor DC news from James Gunn, he tweeted out a picture with absolutely no caption, and it doesn't guarantee that it means every single character here is going to be in the DCEU. It could just be like, hey, I'm the head of DC Studios along with my buddy Peter here, and I just wanted to put out some cool DC artwork. But the thing is, I tend to believe that pretty much most of these characters are going to be in it, because for crying out loud, Batman, Mr. Terrific in the front and center, and he posted when he came into office of the head of DC Studios a literal picture of Mr. Terrific with no caption whatsoever, so that they're clearly working on something, whether it's a movie or an HBO series. You got the Flash there, Wonder Woman, Plastic Man and whatnot, but I see my boy Green Arrow and Black Canary there in the background, and that's my takeaway from this. I want Green Arrow. James Gunn is a big Green Arrow fan. We know that. So this is my takeaway. I want Green Arrow. And my whole take on this has always been, I think we will get him in the DCU, or at least fingers crossed kind of thing. But it still might not be until like year 6 or year 7 in the DCU plans, because, Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 span 10 years. Just in case you're not aware, Chapter 1 has had, I think 10 projects already announced. And James Gunn said for Chapter 1, that's less than half. So there's another 10 plus projects to be announced to complete Chapter 1, which indicates if Chapter 2 is even the same size, it would be 20 plus more projects announced for Chapter 2. So one of those could be Green Arrow. But anyway, like maybe you're looking at another character here that you're thinking, damn, I really want to see that person. So I guess my question to leave off with here is, out of every single character there, Batman, Superman, anyone, who is the person, maybe lesser known, and I'm not saying Green Arrow is lesser known, but ultimately, who is the person you want to see most be brought to fruition in a DCU project, whether that's a movie, animated, even game, or TV show? And lastly, for today's news roundup, guys, we have an update on Blue Beetle, similar to my previous news roundup video. As I said, we said that the trailer was apparently coming soon, but we've got more information, and the trailer could be coming as soon as this Monday, April 3rd. So I know a lot of people are like, Blue Beetle, but I'm excited, okay? And apparently the trailer is 2 minutes and 27 seconds. I do believe that this will come out Monday, at least I'm really hoping. I believe the source who is claiming this is Daniel RPK, say what you will about him, but it does make sense with the timing. The movie's coming out this year. We haven't even so much as got an actual trailer for it, so a 2.5 minute trailer for Blue Beetle sounds awesome to me. So if it does indeed come out Monday, expect a breakdown video. Let me know if you want a reaction first and then a breakdown video. But don't forget about what James Gunn has said about Blue Beetle. We know on the roadmap we've got the Flash movie, which resets the universe, and then we've got Blue Beetle, Aquaman, Superman Legacy, and James Gunn even said himself here, I think that we've gotten very lucky with the next 4 movies, frankly, because we have Shazam, which leads into the Flash, which resets everything, which then goes into Blue Beetle, which is totally disconnected. And just for me to interrupt that, it is like, it doesn't really mention or adhere to the larger DCEU, even though it was made under the old regime and technically in the DCEU. The fact is, out of any of the movies, this one is easily salvaged or implemented into what James Gunn is doing next. So he says it's totally disconnected. He can totally be a part of the DCU, and that goes into Aquaman, which leads into Superman, our first big project. And what he means by that is like, that's where it really kind of like proper kicks off for the DCEU. But that doesn't mean that, you know, Blue Beetle, Aquaman, which is set after the Flash reset, aren't this kind of prelude into what is really coming in with a whole new wave. Because obviously Superman is like a whole new continuity and whole new face, whole new actor for that character. So are you looking forward to that? Let me know. I'm really looking forward to doing a breakdown. Blue Beetle does look like it's going to be a fun time. But that is absolutely everything from me. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts on each and every story. If you want to support this channel, guys, I would just really appreciate a like. It takes 2 seconds. You can help your boy out, surely. I know it sounds like I'm begging. Maybe I freaking am. Maybe subscribe as well. If you want some extra news, I did a whole separate news video dedicated to the Batman 2 because reportedly Clayface could be a villain in that movie, and I rambled for like 25 minutes about that and how he could be adapted, perhaps not in the way you think. So I think a lot of you will enjoy that video if you haven't checked it out already. But time to love you and leave you guys, so thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.